moving from love to something a little bit, come on, oh, turn this off. There we go. Yeah, yep, thank you. Thank you, Denise. Okay, so, we are apolitical here, but we embrace everything, all faiths. So, whatever you like, we like it too. But that doesn't mean with the political realm. We are non-political. Okay, so here's something called the old priest and the young rabbi. An elderly priest, this is good, invited a young rabbi over for dinner. During the meal, the young rabbi couldn't help noticing how attractive and shapely the housekeeper was. Over the course of the evening, he began to wonder if there might be more between the elderly priest and the housekeeper than met the eye. Reading the young rabbi's thoughts, the elderly priest volunteered, "I know what you must be thinking, but I assure you my relationship with my housekeeper is purely professional." About a week later, the housekeeper came to the elderly priest and said, "Father, ever since your young rabbi friend came to dinner, I've been unable to find the beautiful sterling silver gravy ladle. You don't suppose he took it, do you?" The priest said, "Well, I doubt it, but I'll write him a letter just to be sure." So he sat down and wrote, "Dear Rabbi, I'm not saying that you did take a sterling silver gravy ladle from my house, but I'm not saying you didn't take it." That's very good. "But the fact remains that one has been missing ever since you were here." Several days later, the elderly priest received a letter from the young rabbi which read, "Dear Father, I'm not saying that you do sleep with your housekeeper, and I'm not saying that you don't sleep with your housekeeper, but the fact remains that if you were sleeping in your own bed, you would have found the gravy ladle by now." I know, that's one of my faves. Isn't that great? Oh, well, my topic is love is the answer, and obviously we're picking love, and George picked the perfect song for it. And I like to watch. I don't like the news, but I like to watch things that are fantasy based, and that makes me feel better. And so I was watching the end of Once Upon a Time. I don't know if any of you ever watched that, but it's a TV show, and it's a fantasy show, and it's kind of like fractured fairy tales. So it's really how they've taken all these Disney fairy tales and made them really bizarre. But one of the things on that show is the message that they're always bringing is hope and love. And I'm watching it yesterday, and all they ever say to each other, the families together, "I just want you to have hope. I just want you to feel love in this family. You're always going to be supported." And there was one episode where the whole family, there was a curse that everybody sang. And everybody had to sing. They couldn't speak, they had to sing their words. And so what ended up happening is the evil queen couldn't stand that because everybody was too happy and joyful. So she ended up taking all of the singing and put it in a container, which ended up being in the baby, the prince and the princess's baby. And what the Emma didn't know is that she had all the songs from all the people in her heart, and it was beautiful, and that's what really saved her. Isn't that gorgeous? And the other thing that really struck me, have you ever been with anybody who is just nasty and mean and they really, I know, right? Nobody. You never had that experience, right? So anyway, I have a little experience from my life, but this is years ago. But in that show, it was, we talk about, we all have like the evil queen and the princess, or the prince and the evil sorcerer. Let's call it that, okay? Because we have our good and our dark side. So with that, the evil queen, she ended up, she and her sister ended up making up. But what she did, she was being angry and mean, and everything was horrible, and she just took her and held her in an embrace. And her whole demeanor shifted, and that shifted everything. Because love is the answer. The other thing in that show, what they always do to break the curses The only thing that could break the curse is what? Love. And that is the answer. Love is the answer for everything, because not only in that, but in our own life. So I want to share a little bit about a gal that I used to work with, and she did not like me. She hated me, absolutely hated me. This is when I was in the insurance business. And I thought, wow, I wonder how I can shift that. And I was at the time in practitioner training at Agape. So I thought, well, I bet she just needs a little love. And so I went up to her, and she was the office manager. And I went up to her and I said, hey, how was your week? And she was taken aback. And I said, how was your weekend? And tell me a little bit about what you do. And she had a little dog, and she told me about that. And then she started telling me about different things in her life. Nobody ever talked to her in the office. So I was the first one that did that and actually sat with her. And then we had these, like I like toys, right? You know that. I love little toys and dancing things. At Christmas, I don't put anything out except my dancing toys. So anyway, she had a dancing toy on her desk. So our ritual was every morning I'd get into work and I'd walk up to her and I said, okay, put it on. And we'd start dancing. We had the dancing hamster, remember that one? And we had all of them. And so we would dance, and we had I think we had different toys, but that was our ritual and how we connected. And she was my champion ever since then. So she went from being the evil queen to my best buddy. And what ended up happening because of that love and because of me letting go of having to be, I don't know, oh, she's mean and she needs to be nice to me. Have you ever heard anybody say that? Oh, I'm never going to talk to them and they talk to me first. And I'm looking out going, oh, really? That's going to get you a lot of friends, right? And it doesn't work. So what happened later on is that she was the one when I was going through a really bad time at that place, and there was, I'm not even going to go into that story, but it was about, the owners, and they were trying to come after me and blah, blah, blah. And she was the one that was my champion and told me and gave me the advice of what to do. You would have never thought that 5 years earlier. Never thought that. So love is the answer, because from her supporting me and giving me unconditional love, which was great, by the way, and allowing and believing in me, it made all the difference. And that whole situation, of course, with prayer and a lot, that it shifted, and it was really beautiful, and it turned out to be fantastic. But what I wanted to do today, and I was talking to somebody about this, how many of you pray for yourself? And you pray, and, I pray I know, I'm a minister. But anyway, I pray all the time. And how many of you pray, actually pray? You chanting is a prayer. It really is. Okay, and then when you do that, do you pray for yourself as well as the world? Do you pray for yourself? Because one of the things that I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said, well, you really need to tell everybody that they need to go inside. And I said, well, we know that, and yes, we do. And surrender, of course, and that's part of my prayer. I surrender of my life, my heart, my soul. I say that every single day. I surrender up the center. One of the things from Joel S. Goldsmith, and he said, thy will, meaning Spirit's will, not my will. Thy will be done. Thy will, not my will. Because as we do that, we allow the divine to bring in something greater and better for us. And that's what it's all about. But I found something, and I agree. Yes, we need to surrender. And we still have to worry and be present to how we care for ourselves. We talked about, Isha was talking about somebody, and she was in the hospital, about how the parents were, giving her love, but in a way that didn't make her feel good. And so even though we have somebody outside of us and we're seeking to have that, we still need to do the inner work. We still need to do, yes, right? How many of you are unconditionally in love with yourself? You never judge yourself, you never beat yourself up. How many? I don't see no hands, okay? So that's what I'm talking about. yesterday, I gotta say, so somebody showed me love last week. I was talking about my grieving process, and I don't know why, but I am hit so hard by Sue Peavy. It's just really been a deep one for me because we were pretty close. We talked on the phone, and I had the opportunity to pray with her several times during her bout of cancer. And the last time I talked to her, she says, "I just don't want to be here anymore." And I go, "Okay, then let's pray for that. Let's pray for you to be with your son again." And she's with her son now, which is beautiful because her son died 2 years before she did. At a freak, something weird happened in the hospital, and I don't think she ever got over it. And I really, and this is just my opinion, I really think that she got sick so she could be with him eventually. I really do, because I can't even imagine losing my child. My daughter and I were talking about that. I can't imagine losing a child. I mean, all of us who have children, and even if you don't, it's losing a dog, losing your child, it doesn't matter. It's the same. We love them unconditionally, and when we lose them, it's the hardest thing that we can go through. So I was looking through things that I thought would be cool, but a 7-step prescription for self-love. And she said self-love is a popular term. It gets tossed around. You need to love yourself, blah, blah, blah. She said self-love is important to living well. It influences who you pick for a male, that's true, for a mate, the image, mate or female, the image you project at work, true, and how you cope with the problems in your life. It's also important for your welfare that you want to know how to bring more of it into your life. And I know we talk a lot about that and about bringing more love, but I don't see any of us there walking around on water. I don't see us there. Even Jesus had issues with his own self when he was going through his state and transition into another realm of consciousness. So what is self-love? It is something, it's not something you could buy at the counter, and you can get more of it by reading something inspirational maybe. So self-love is a state of appreciation for support of our physical, psychological, and spiritual growth. Self-love is dynamic. It grows by actions that mature us. When we act in ways that expand self-love in us, we begin to accept much better our weaknesses as well as our strengths. Then less need to explain away our shortcomings, right? How many of you have you gotten to the place where somebody will say something to you and they're clearly throwing a barb at you and you're okay? And you don't take it on anymore, you don't, oh, but, and you don't defend yourself. That means that you've grown in self-love. You have compassion for ourselves as human beings, struggling to find personal meaning in our spiritual growth, and we're more centered in our life purpose and values, and we expect fulfillment through our own efforts rather than people outside of us. And I think right now, and it's been throughout history, but individuals have a real hard time going within and seeking that wisdom within and seeking that own self-love, seeking their own inner strength. Because here I am yesterday, I'm grieving, I'm not feeling good, what am I doing? Oh, you're lazy, you need to be doing more. What are you doing? Watching that TV show for 2 hours. I mean, the chatter, it is definitely the evil queen in me cursing me. And I had to just say, no, no, no. In order for me to be present, in order for me to be really on my game tomorrow, I need to do that. And I need to take care of myself because it's going to be a long, gorgeous day. I get to be here, thank you God, and I get to be in Ojai honoring Sue and her presence. So with that, it's really looking at how do we treat ourselves. That's a lot of it. So here's what this gal says. She says, here's a prescription for self-love. Become mindful. We know that, right? Become mindful. Bobby, how many bracelets do you have? 3 now. He's going to have 3. Mindful, okay?
It's on its way.
It's on its way. So people of more self-love tend to know what they think, feel, and want. They are mindful of who they are and act on this knowledge rather than of what others want for them. And that's being mindful. How many of you finally have got the past you don't please anybody anymore? Right? Are you okay with that? Because spiritually, we don't please anybody but ourselves. That is really the truth. And then number 2, act on what you need rather than what you want. I thought this was interesting. You love yourself when you can turn away from something that feels good and exciting to what you need to stay strong, centered, and moving forward in your life. Instead, by staying focused on what you need, you turn away from automatic behavior patterns and that get you into trouble, keep you stuck in the past, and lessen self-love. We were talking about this on Thursday night in our class. And what that means is that we've got rote behavior. We've got behavior from society. We've got behavior from our life. We have behavior from our parents. We have behavior that's been ingrained in us. And what happens, it's going to show up as we pick abusive people in relationships. We pick jobs that are horrible for us. Or we have money issues and we're in deep debt. That's all of the stuff that blocks us from having pure self-love, because nope, I can't spend this money because I need to pay that debt off first. That's what she's talking about. You're going to do that piece first. Or I'm going to go ahead and date a lot of different people and not just settle for the first guy or gal, because I need to make sure that they're the right individuals. And this is just RevMaryum's wisdom. When you find somebody that you feel comfortable with, run. Because what's going to happen is that they are not the one for you. You are getting somebody that's your old pattern, and if you're having a struggle in the beginning with them and you're having to talk and really work things through, that's your guy or gal. That's the one you want to stay with, because the old programming is going to rope you in. Oh, they're so exciting. Oh, I kept picking horrible guys because that was the old programming picking up. They I was internet dating before Art, and I would attract in people, abusers on the internet. It's an energy. We were talking about that yesterday, right? And we were talking about how our energy affects everything. So when that little gal said, somebody said last week, and I can't forgive, blah, blah, it's like, you know what? Then keep that. And you can keep that negative energy, and you can keep that in your body, and it's going to make you sick, and it's not going to help you. That's all I'm going to say. So really be present. So 1 and 2 really go together. Become mindful of old behaviors. Because I got caught, and then I realized, and this is down the road, not to beat myself up, or don't beat yourself up and another one. I picked another one. My picker's broken, okay? And maybe the picker's broken, but we can change the picker so that the picker inside of us will choose the right things. Like that, my picker's broken. That's what my dad used to say to me. And I go, honey, no, you have the ability to shift that, and it's okay. All right, number 3, practice good self-care. You will love yourself more when you take better care of your basic needs. People high in self-love, and we talk about this all the time, nourish themselves daily through healthy activities, sound nutrition, exercise, sleep, intimacy, and healthy social interactions. And, we've all done it where, we feel really crummy about something, or we had a breakup and I'm just going to eat chocolate all day. And that's because we're not feeling good about ourselves, and we feel like we're not loved and we're not lovable. And so we'll take that behavior and do that. And then the number 4 is set boundaries. You'll love yourself more when you set limits or say no to work, Roxy, love, or activities that deplete or harm you physically, emotionally, spiritually, or express poorly who you are. And Roxy and I, and Denise, all 3 of us are doers. Just give it to us. We're fast. Sure, we can get it done. And then she had to step back. I had to step back. Roxy had to step back. Because we were all working ourselves to the bone, and it was like, that is not self-love. Okay? That is not self-love. It's the martyr thing. It's like, I'll feel good about myself, but I can do it all. What's that commercial? I could fry it up in a pan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that's right, right? I'm a real woman. What's the song? I can't
I
remember.
can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never.
Let you forget you're a man.
And I'm a woman. Yeah, that one. Anyway, so we got caught in that. I'm a woman. And we got caught, and we all get caught in it. Whether you're a woman or I'm a man. I'm a man. I can do it all. You know, so it's really something. I watch Art, God bless him, he's a man, and he just like, I gotta do all this stuff, and he had to have a little eye surgery, and so what ended up happening is that he had to like sit back and chill. He couldn't golf. Oh, Lord have mercy, that's his church. Yeah, that's his church, because he golfs 3 times a week, and sometimes all weekend. And so he's sitting back like, whoa, what am I gonna do now? And I'm like, you gotta be present to yourself, my love. That's what you're gonna do. And you're gonna have to just take it easy. And so, so he's not supposed to be bending over and doing anything, right? This is self-love. He was not practicing it. So he bent over and he goes, oh, I learned I can't bend over the first day of surgery. I go, what happened? Well, I was bleeding. I go, okay, you go set your divine frame down on the couch now. And you stop it. You just allow yourself, love yourself, and nurture yourself. That's all you have to do. But how many of you do that? It's not as extreme as with my beloved, but I'm telling you, right? And we do it. And I'm sitting there and I'm working out and I'm doing all this stuff, and I was doing this all weekend, and I'm trying to feel better, and I finally go, just sit your buns down and chill. Because sometimes the best way for us to get present, one of my talks was God can't hit a moving target. Hello! So we have to make sure that we are not moving targets, that Spirit can load us up with the beautiful and the divine. We did a visioning process in class on Thursday, and we all felt that deep connection. It was beautiful because we just sat and we were present. Hello, self-love, and that's really what it's about. Okay, so the next one is protect yourself. Bring the right people into your life. I love the term frenemies that I learned from my younger clients. It describes so well the type of friends who take pleasure in your pain and loss rather than in your happiness and success. So she says, my suggestion, get rid of them. And there isn't enough time in your life to waste on people who want to take away the shine on your face. And if they don't say, I genuinely love yourself, you will love and respect yourself more. So I don't know how we brought this up. I didn't tell Art about this. He said, we had a group of friends, and, we were talking about how people, the percentage of positive and negative people in the world, and I was thinking it was like 60-40. What do you guys think it is? Positive and negative. Positive 40, 60 negative? Reverse, 60 positive, 40 negative? Okay. Anyway, so he said he had a group of friends, and they would go out drinking and carousing, and he said, but the one thing about them, they were all upbeat and happy and joyful, and they would just laugh all the time. As soon as a person tried to come into their group, that when they wanted to go out and party, he said if they weren't upbeat and happy, they couldn't join. They were not going to join because they wanted somebody that was going to be in the same mindset. And think about it, how many times have you been around somebody and they want to be your friend and they're just sucking the life out of you? You know what I'm saying? And they're taking your energy. We call them vampires. And they just suck your energy because they don't have self-love, because they're seeking outside themselves in order to get it. And so if we love ourselves enough, we say, beloved, I love you and I can't be with you. It's interesting in my career as a minister, so many people over the years, I want to be your best friend. And I'm like, I can't. I have a daughter and grandchildren and a boyfriend. I can't be your best friend. And besides that, it's not going to work because then if I'm your best friend, then everybody else will be jealous or upset. You can't do it. You've got to be very careful on how you tread. And that's whether you own a business. It doesn't matter. You've got to be super careful and just treat everybody with loving kindness. That's really it. Okay, this is the biggest one, and then Joanne is always talking about this. Forgive yourself, right, Joanne? Because if we don't forgive ourselves, how are we going to allow ourselves to be kind and conscious with other people and have compassion, okay? She says, we humans can be so hard on ourselves. The downside of taking responsibility for our actions is punishing ourselves too much for mistakes and learning and growing. How many of you make mistakes and then you just do the steely knife on yourself, right? You know, it's kind of like, remember in Wayne's World, Garth? He had the donut on the counter, or the cupcake, because he was so upset about something. We do that to ourselves energetically. We cause ourselves to be, I don't know, beat ourselves up more than anybody who's been ever nasty to you. I've been way worse than that to myself, and we all do that. Practice being less hard on yourself when you make a mistake. That was the biggest thing when I read this article, because I was looking through the internet to find some really good stuff. How many of you give yourself a break? And I beat myself, Roxy knows, because I've done, I beat myself up, I should have just the whip, and I'm beating myself, and I'm beating myself. Oh, Roxy, I did this. Oh, Roxy, you're beating shit. Brooke, you just need to let it go. I can't, I don't know how to do it. You know, so that was that. And I had done that. Oh, man. And I watched myself. And there was a time when I thought I was being mean to somebody and I wasn't honoring them. They were here one Sunday and I'm carrying this story around me. I'm not kidding you. 2 months. 2 months. And I'm like, and my ego got me. So I am here to tell you, we all get caught. But please, you know, talk to me. I'll help you get rid of it because I've done it probably 20 times worse. And I do that, and I realize I did it again. I did something else, and I'm like, I read this, and I go, no. It's a learning experience, and what's the good? Where's the goal? So when we have a learning experience, really look for the goal and allow yourselves to embrace that, okay? And then the last one, live intentionally. You will accept and love yourself more, whatever is happening in your life, when you live with purpose and design. Your purpose doesn't have to be crystal clear. If your intention is to live a meaningful and healthy life, you will make decisions that support that intention. Do you love that? And feel good about yourself when you succeed in this purpose. You will love yourself more if you see yourself accomplishing what you set out to do. So I like that. My intention is to live a meaningful and healthy life. Do you like that? What else would you add to that? Meaningful, healthy, and conscious. Loving? There, loving. Meaningful, okay, I'm going to write that down. Meaningful, healthy, and loving. How about that?
Forgiving of yourself.
Yeah, but that's loving. Meaningful, healthy, and loving. And that means within yourself and others. So if you hold that as your intention, what Raymond Charles Barker is talking about and what we have in this teaching is that as we do that, we're going to shift our whole life and things show up in the most profound and beautiful ways. So if you choose one of those actions, do one of them. Because today if you walk away and you say, I remember what the Rev said, then that's going to help you move toward self-compassion, self-love. Whenever I'm teaching yoga, at the end we do our closing with, we are now going to put into our heart self-compassion, self-love, and peace. And we do different ones, but that's usually, I always put in self-love, compassion, and joy, something like that. So let us close with, I'm going to all right, this is great. So this is out of, I love Pastor Joel Osteen, okay? And his book, we should do this as a book of the month, because it's a good book. Anyway, so I want you to repeat after me. We're going to close out with this one, because it goes along with what I was saying. I declare that God has a great plan for my life. Reach your arms out. I declare that God has a great plan for my life. God is directing my steps. God is directing my steps. And even though I may not always understand how, I know my I declare it, and so it is. And I declare it, and so it is. Woo! All right, with that, we have a little jumpy dance song from EJ. Yeah? All right.
Dance song, usually.
I know. Jumpy, moving baby. Very jumpy. Oh, I like very jumpy.
Very dense.
And very dancing. All right, get your dance shoes on because that's self-love. Dancing actually helps us to get healthier and happier.
Especially if you smoke a split.
Are you ready for jumping?
I don't know what that is.
Are you ready for dancing?
We're always ready for dancing.
We're always ready for that.
A 1, 2, 3.